Violence numbers continue to rise. The National Network to End Domestic Violence collected data for a 24-hour-long period in 2020. During that time, more than 1,100 adults and children were placed in emergency shelters. In 2022, that number increased. During the same 24-hour period, more than 1,200 people were placed in shelters.
There's a strong need for shelters that provide support for domestic abuse victims here in the Wabash Valley. News 10's Caitlin Hunt has more on how this need is impacting one local shelter.
CODA in Terre Haute is still seeing high enrollment numbers 3 years after the pandemic. And despite the pressure, they're still determined to help every person they can, especially when they have such success stories like the woman I spoke with. Tara Asletine is a domestic abuse survivor. When a string of toxic and abusive relationships eventually landed her in the hospital, she knew it was time to get help, and she found that at CODA in December of 2019.
And they just reminded me that there is good people in the world, and I don't have to, just see the bad. And it made me give a different outlook on my life.
Asletine is just one of the hundreds of people needing domestic abuse services in the last few years. Emily Murray is the director of CODA, and she says like many other shelters, CODA has seen an increase in enrollments, even after the pandemic.
So in 2021, we had 85 enrollments, and then in 2022, which was just last year, it went up to 148. So we've seen a pretty considerable increase.
Murray says she's not sure what has brought on this increase, but she believes underlying tension in many relationships came to the surface at the beginning of the pandemic. Either way, Murray says it's putting added pressure on the shelter and donations are needed.
Yeah, we've definitely seen the need to do more fundraising and search out for other grants so that we can operate, not in a deficit.
Murray says the shelter is willing to help as many people as it can in any way it can. And while CODA is a bright spot in the fight to end domestic violence, Asletine says it still makes her sad to hear that not everyone is getting the help they need.
It just really breaks my heart because as many people as they're able to help, there's 5 more that are getting harmed now, and they don't know that there's a way out.
And if you do need CODA services or just want to make a donation, you can give them a call at 800-566-2632. In the newsroom, Caitlin Hunt, News 10.